I will talk about it in just a second. I'm going to kind of my finished objects warps, my finished objects, finished objects. Hello, and welcome to Losing My Knit episode 9. I'm Jeff, that's Jeff with a G. I'm mostly a knitter, sometimes a crocheter. I live in Boston with my husband Tim and our Bernedoodle Barnaby. He's asleep down there. He might pop up at some point. And welcome to the free-for-all that is my fiber life. You can find me on Instagram at losing.my.knit or Ravelry and Blue Sky at losingmyknit. I'll put some QR codes up here. Welcome if you've just stumbled across my channel, and welcome back if you're here for the giggles. If you like what you see or even just want to grudge watch me, why not? I hope you'll subscribe or throw me a like, and definitely leave a comment. I am nosy. I want to know what you're working on. I want to know what your thoughts are. And y'all showed out last time, so we're going to talk about them. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to Sarah over at Little Dynamite on YouTube. She gave me a couple of shout outs in her last episode, and it was I think I watched it the day after I recorded, but while I was still editing, and I was like, I can't just give her a little splice in. So shout out to Sarah. Definitely go check out her channel. I'll link her below. She's also on Instagram. And yeah, I'm excited to see the finest kind she's going to make her husband. We're going to make a couple of other things. Then I also need to catch up with her to get her sock recipe for her husband, because he's got wide, large feet like me. And I have an idea I might do a sock. We'll see about that one. Couple of other things. If you are watching this on Saturday the 6th, you should come down to the Boston Fiber Festival on Sunday the 7th. I will be volunteering there, so come say hi if you're there. I will be awkward. I'm awkward in person. I don't know what to say, but yeah, just come say hi. It'll be fun. Other quick note, the whole Mezzo Makes Taco Bell pre-order, it's been sorted. I got my money back. I never got an apology. Thankfully, that drama's done. Other big thing, when I said y'all showed out in the comments, y'all really did show out in the comments. Actually, before I get there, if you've noticed, I've shifted things around a little bit. I am trying to record this on my phone. We'll see how it works. I'm also using a mic, a new mic. You can just see it here. I knocked over that microphone 3 times last time, and I was like, I've got to do something different. So a couple of people have already reached out and said they recommended this mic. I did a little test on Instagram. I like it so far. I think it picks up the audio a lot better. Plus there's nothing I could do this and talk with my hands and not knock the mic over. So that's a bonus. But I'm also recording this on my phone, so you can actually see a little bit of my bookshelf. Those are the Brontes. That's Jane Austen. Those are signed copies or just copies that I treasure. You know, friends and family bought me. This Heartstopper right here on the right. Ooh, I have a little Heartstopper. I bought them to go on my computer, but I never took them out. I should put them over there. I'll do that right now. That was random. And then as you go down, we've got some sci-fi and some other stuff down there. But yeah, and then my my knitting thing. I think I'm going to eventually shift this shelf that way, or get a corner shelf, get a nice sitting chair, and then maybe I'll film over there. Slightly different angle as I try out this camera. Hopefully, no, I didn't. So I have a decent iPhone. I think it's a 15. And I knew it did high resolution, like super high resolution, but I didn't know how to set it. So like I recorded a couple of takes, I think, back in North Carolina last episode, and they were really low quality, and apparently you just have to go in and change the settings, and I did it. So hopefully this is pretty high quality, and the sound is good, but let me know if it's not. Anyway, so I just wanted to say thank you all for all of the comments on both the main video and the couple of videos that I spliced out, or a couple of sections that I spliced out. I want to, the yarn cost and substitution, y'all had so many thoughts, and they were such wonderful thoughts. So I'm going to share a couple, because I did, you know, it was a conversation. I wanted to have that conversation, and you all spotted a couple of things. I did throw in a note, and I think the spliced out video where some people had already commented, and then I've got a couple of more since then. Couple of thoughts that you all had. That, pattern designers often work with or for yarn companies to promote their yarn, and they receive yarn support. Comment is right here. It's C. Mizmuchi. I don't know. He reminded me of this, and like that was a great catch. Like I knew that, but I didn't say it. But him saying that was like, oh yeah, of course they receive a couple of things, and it's a mutual relationship. They help sell the yarn helps sell the pattern. So like I get it. That's how it works. It's like book reviewers. We review the book, we get a copy of the book. They potentially sell more books. So I just thought that was a great one to highlight. The other one that a lot of people said was cost impacts everyone, not just the largest sizes. And yes, 100%, like love that. Russell Sansom, I think is how you say it, had a great comparison of why stores sell such a narrow size range. That's why when you go into a regular department store, like a big box store, you see maybe extra small to 2X. Anything smaller or anything larger is like just, they don't sell. Or there's a special store like DXL, which I use for big and tall. Like they start at a 1, maybe an extra large or a 1X, and go up to like a 6 or 7X. So like it's a very custom store, and there's a price there. But like he rightfully pointed out, it's the same cost for an extra small to a 2X. And then there might be a markup for a 3X or a 4X. One, that's insane because there should be a bigger markup between a medium and an extra small and a 2X and a 3X. Just saying, but awesome thing to highlight, and I thought it made a lot of sense. The other one, the Woolly Hag, awesome name, love it, wonderful, no notes. She mentioned that those knitting on a budget, no matter the size, are impacted. 100%, that is a fact. If you have $100, you have $100. That's all you have. Like you have to find the yarn to fit within that for whatever project you want to do. So I love that. And then Alison Molyneux, along with quite a few other Canadians, hi Canada, love you all, reminded me that our neighbors to the north have a lot of crazy markups. Like, there's the taxes, there's the fees, the import fees. I mean, we're getting ready to see the tariffs going the other way. Like, it happened. Like, that's true. And Allison, who inspired the whole conversation for me, or Allie makes, she's Canadian, and she talks about those fees, and I'm like, absolutely not. I will knit with something else. Like, so it really made me just want to give shout out to Alison Molyneux and everyone else who commented about that. That's the comment there. And then obviously, like, so many people were like, everybody substitutes. Most people substitute, and they do. But it does feel like, and I think the reason I talked about it is that it does feel like a lot of podcasters don't substitute, or if they do, they don't flag that it's a major substitute or make the comparison of why they substituted. So I just wanted to highlight that. One, I think you DM'd me. I don't think you left a comment, so I can't find it right off the top. Recommendedyarnsub.com. It is a wonderful recommendation. You can go there, say what yarn it is, and they'll break it down. They'll be like, this feels similar. This is the same length you can buy. So like, definitely recommend that. I'll put it down below. And then shout out to Sandy, who left this very long comment, which not the longest, and you all really shared some great comments. I loved it. Sandy mentioned, and I knew this as well, but I didn't make the connection because I also get grumpy about it at the grocery store. Sandy mentioned the per unit price. So like when you go to the grocery store and say you're buying something that has, I mean, they're all there, but we'll say there's 10 of something in the one box. It'll tell you how, it'll give you the overall price. We'll say $10. And then it'll say the unit price is $1. So each of those units is $1. And so she rightfully pointed out that that's kind of how Andrea Mowry was approaching it, that you could see. So when you compare, a 50 gram skein or 100 gram skein, this is how much you're paying per yard. And I get that, but I'm still annoyed. Not like mean annoyed, but more just kind of like, that's still a struggle for me as someone who really tries not to buy that extra skein, but always buys the extra skein or two. To really try and stay within, like, if I don't have to pay the extra $10, $15, $20 for that skein, I'm just like, annoying. But that's a me thing. Like, no shade at Andrea Mowry. I think her doing that is more than a lot of designers do, and it's a great thing to do, and I would love to see more people do it, and just include like, hey, check out yarnsub.com on your pattern listing on Ravelry. That would be amazing. So the other thing I wanted to just shout out is one, you all showed a lot of love for that. And then like I just had a wonderful experience from the fiber community. I will talk about it in just a second. I'm gonna kind of my finished objects warps warp. My finished objects finished objects whips and acquisitions are going to be kind of muddied this month just because of the way things ended up falling and how a couple of things worked out. But I will talk about the awesome experience from the fiber community as I get into this next project. This first project. So moving into finished objects. I had two, but then last night I decided I was taking one out. That went back to whip. But I have one finished object. This is one y'all haven't even seen. Like, you haven't even seen this one. I started it and finished it 2 days ago. And I will be making a couple more. So you'll see it again next month. But my first finished object is the Tin Can Knits Mountain Mist Hat. I was inspired. So I've had this yarn. I'll talk about the yarn in a second. I've had this yarn for 4 years. I think I got it back in 2021. I meant to make it and I never did. And then Big Sis Lil Bro podcast. The sister, cannot remember her name, she was working on the Mountain Mist and I was like, oh, I should dig mine out. And I did, and I dug it out and it inspired me to do this. And I also did it for another reason, which will be my first whip, which I'll talk about in a second. So this is the Mountain Mist Hat by Tin Can Knits. I bought the fiber years ago from Sundragon Art and Fiber down in Brevard, North Carolina. They changed the colors up to sort of show the Appalachian Mountains. So they're greener. And then I think this to me, it kind of shows like the fog in the distance and then into the sky. So it's made with it's Fiber Spates Lily Kate Makes Axis. The colors are Penumbra, this really deep green, Blue Shift, which is this beautiful petrol dark blue, Aurora, which is the largest of the mountains, and then Parallax on top. So when I bought this, I bought it with the intention of making 2 hats. And I bought 2 of the Parallax up at the top. And I should have bought 2 of the Penumbra at the bottom. These 2 you use so little that you could either just swap them around or use them twice and still have leftovers. But I only bought 1 of the Penumbra. And I was like, I want to make at least 2 that are identical and then potentially a 3rd or 4th at a smaller size for smaller people. And I realized I don't know if they've actually discontinued it completely or if it's just they aren't producing as much anymore, but you can't find the Penumbra in America. I looked, you couldn't find it. There were a couple, I think Canadian, a couple in Britain, you could buy. I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I searched Ravelry to see who had it in their stash. And I was like, I've never, done a D-stash or bought anything from Ravelry. I've done a D-stash I bought from someone on Instagram, but not from Ravelry. And I reached out to someone and I just said, hey, you have this yarn in your stash. I was hoping to make a couple of these for gifts. But I only bought 1 and I can't find it anywhere. Would you be open to selling me one of your skeins? They're 50-gram skeins. I have one. They're 50-gram skeins. And she said, absolutely, sure. If you'll pay postage, I'll ship it to you. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I, she sent me her PayPal. I sent her the $7.50 and was like, fingers crossed she does and it gets here. And what was her name is Michelle. She goes by Quilt Knit Girl on Ravelry. And so I was just like, you never know. I was like, oh, maybe if it doesn't get here, I lose $7.50. That's not the end of the world. But it got here. And Michelle didn't just send me the 1 in her stash. She sent me all 3 of them. And I was like, that is the sweetest thing. And I messaged her right away. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I am happy to pay you for these. Like, I only really needed the one, but now I might be able to get the third, fourth, maybe even a fifth hat out of it if I shuffle some of the colors around. She's like, enjoy the present, make those hats. And it just gave me so much warmth. And like, this community is so great. And I shared this story, even before I knew I got the 3, I shared this story on my virtual knit night. And I was like, reach out to them on Ravelry. Like, you never know. Cause I think she may have had something that said, you know, if you're interested in something in my stash, let me know. And so Nora on Knit Night, she was knitting something that had been discontinued as well. And she reached out to someone and they were like, yeah, absolutely. Here you go. I'll ship it to you. So like, such a wonderful, the fiber community is so great. But yes, I'm so excited. I'm going to make all the hats and I'm excited and they're going to look good. I will probably at some point need to, one will have this color as a top and one will probably have this color as a top. So it'll, you know, they'll look a little different. Maybe it'll look like snow-capped mountains when I have used this as the one here, but I'm excited. It's a nice worsted weight. Yeah, and so the other reason, so in addition to Big Sis Lil Bro podcast that I did this is because I have a friend. So I'm going to go into my works in progress. I have a friend who asked me if I could make him a Pokeball hat. So, and I was like, okay, why not? I did search to see if I could find a pattern. It's not the red and white one. The red and white one would be easy. It's the Ultra Ball, and I'll put a photo here. So it's black, yellow, and white. And I was like, okay, first off, I need to get a stitch count. So I was like, I'm going to make this because it's a worsted weight. I could probably use a heavy DK or hold something double if I needed to, so that he could try it on and I could figure out, okay, is this the right one or do I need to go down a size? I need to go down a size. I found that out. So I am going to make him a Pokeball hat based on the stitch counts of here. I am probably going to change the decreases because I think that's the biggest challenge right now. So this one has 6 decreases going in, making the star. I will probably try and drop it to 4. We'll see. Anyway, so that was the other reason I did this. I will say I'm not going to put any photos up of that hat because I haven't done anything for it yet. But when I looked up the hats, the Ultra Ball hats, most people half-ass it. I don't mean that as a critique. And I think it's because of the majority of the photos. This is what it looks like. There's a yellow U, upside down U on it, or an N. But that's not what it looks like. So as you'll see in the photo that I put up, it actually forms an H on the top. And that's because the actual translation is hyperbole. And so it should be an H. So I'm not going to half-ass it. So in order to do this, I have had to teach myself 2 new techniques in the last week or so. We went to Michael's. We went out to Fabric Place Basement, which is not far from here. They didn't have any colors that would work. And we ended up at the Michael's, which was just around the corner, and we got loops and thread. So it is a 4-weight, according to whatever chart that is. And it's black, yellow, and white. It's very thick. I would not consider this a 4-weight, and it knits up very thick. I don't know what I would consider a 4-weight, but this to me is more like it's heavier than what I thought it would be. But I did use it to teach myself. So I taught myself ladder back jacquard. So ladder back jacquard is what you do when you're going to have a really long float. So say you have 10 or 12 stitches, you know, this one over here is black, there's 12 stitches of white, and then there's black over here. So you have to carry that black strand 12 stitches. What you do is you do a little trick at like stitch 6 where you create something on the back of the work that will carry it up and hold it in place, but not have it stretched across all 12 stitches. And what that looks like, I'm realizing this is the exact reverse of the colors I just said. is this. So you see this right here. This is ladder-back jacquard. So I can put my finger behind it, and you anchor it down at the bottom, and then I would knit it together when I was done. So that was the first skill I taught myself, and you can see I was practicing it over here. At first I didn't use the anchor method, so it kind of like flops around. So it flops around, and then I was like, oh, how do I anchor it? Figure out how to anchor it. I used a very nice article by Isolde T. I'll put it below. So that was one of the things, because when you're looking at that hat, there's that big space across the H. And I'm not 100% sure that's the best option for that, because I think I would have ladder-back jacquard going all the way around because it's black on the sides, 2 stripes of yellow. So like, okay, I also should teach myself intarsia in the round. And I did that. So you can see it right here. This one, this spot right there. So what this is this black is not, I'm not carrying it. You can see I carried it here to get over there, but I'm not carrying it. And I've never done intarsia. I know the basic ideas behind intarsia. And so I was like, okay, let me figure it out. I have figured it out. Basically, you're knitting, as you're knitting around, you knit your first round, you do your color. I have ladder-back jacquard in the middle of it because it's pretty big. And then you get to the end. You then wrap your yarn and then knit around, continue in whatever the other color is. And then when you get back and you get over here, your yarn's over here. So you can either knit backwards. Yeah, you can knit backwards, or you can just reverse your work, which is what I did. And then you wrap your yarn and then you carry it across. You do, with the ladder-back jacquard in the middle of it, it's a little bit more complicated because then you have to making sure that you're moving the yarns at the same time. But basically every other round you're moving, you're knitting backwards is what it is. And you just have to make sure that you wrap it well. I didn't wrap it well this first time. You can see it's very loose on this side. So that's something that I'll have to work on. And by wrap it well, I didn't wrap it at all. So I need to do that. And that was something that I learned. So it gets better. It got better. I'll keep practicing on this before I start on the other one. So those are the new skills I learned. But because of how thick this is, and he didn't want a super thick hat, he runs hot like I do, I did have to try and buy new yarn. It is very hard to match yellow. This is the closest we found. Michael's had exactly one skein of it, and this is the most realistic to the yellow. But what I did was I ordered knit picks. They're Brava Sport, which I used to make that blanket. I got black, white, and yellow. As you can see, it's a little more goldenrod yellow. This is Sport. I may hold it double. It looks pretty plump. We'll see. And then the other one is I got the Brava Baby DK. So this is a much paler yellow. A little closer. So we'll see. I may try it in both. We'll see which one works better. Yeah, so that's my 2 new things that I taught myself in the project, the whip that I'm going to work on. Like I said, I'm going to work on the intarsia in the round a little bit more, especially with the jacquard, and then I will have to decide if I want to do intarsia or jacquard and figure it out. The next big step for this project is going to actually be mapping it out and trying to figure out where those decreases fit in the top of the head and how I can do the color. The very top will be yellow, so I can do that, but I know there's going to be a couple of decreases in here. So the good part is I know exactly how many rows there are in that mountain mist hat, so I'm going to map it out and then try and draw it and see if I can figure it out. So I'm excited about that. It's something to... it's kept me entertained, especially after doing 2 big garments back to back. I was like, this will be, making hats is something that's going to get me a couple of finished objects pretty quickly. And then that one is kind of stretching my creative muscles. Like, I am teaching myself something. I'm going to have to do, make a couple versions of it to figure out what fits best and what doesn't. So that's where that is. That's my That's not my main work in progress, but that is one that I will be working on over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to fall, and I can, and that's up pretty quick. So once I figure it out, the design, then I will be able to do it quickly. And I'll probably make a couple to see what fits best. My second work in progress, which was actually a finished object up until yesterday, is my Vilu by Rastus Sue. As a reminder, I am making it in Cascade cotton socks in silver and navy. I spent $47.25, that's USD, on the yarn I bought. 5 were on clearance, and yeah, the recommended yarn in the pattern is Pascali Nepal. If I were to have bought the yarn in the recommended yarn, the yarn recommended in the pattern, I would have spent $162.50, so a lot more money. I will say, once I finished, I only had this much gray and this much blue. So it was spot on with the number that I needed to buy. I did buy an extra because I am me and I am extra. And I bought an extra one. It's the cotton socks, Cascade cotton socks. So I do have an extra one, depending on how, and I think there will be this. I shouldn't break into this at all. So that's what's left. But what I decided, I tried it on, and I'll put a photo here. It is designed to be oversized. So the armholes are very large. The neck hole shouldn't be as large as it is. But so I decided I was going to rip out the neck hole first. I'm going to reduce it by, here, I'll show you what it looks like, because I think you saw it last time. It wasn't even fully sewn up. Where's the ball? So this is what it looks like. And I love it. It's heavy, like it's cotton, so it's heavy. But I decided the neck, as you can see in the photo, the neck is way too big. So I decided to rip out the neck, get it back on the needles yesterday. I'm going to reduce it by 30%. So that's about, it's just under 60 stitches. I'm going to knit that back up, try it on before I sew it down. I'll tack it down or pin it down, try it on again, see if that works. I may go to 40%, which would be just under 80 stitches, like 63, I think, 64. But we'll see. I think that'll pull the neck in really nice. I haven't decided about the armholes yet. I don't mind them being big, like it's designed to be big, and I will wear this on a cruise ship, like a cover-up. This is... The width doesn't bother me, and I accidentally knit them on a needle size too small, so it's even smaller than they would have been. But I do think what bothers me is the flare. So what I'm thinking is I will probably do a similar thing for each of the arms, where like it looks nice up here and then it fits, but then at the bottom it just kind of flares out a little bit. And so you can see that really in the photo. I will probably do a similar thing where I will reduce it by 30%, maybe 40%, just to kind of bring that flare in. And then when I sew it, the idea right now is that I will reduce down, knit however many rows it is to 3 before, go back up so that when I seam it, it's kind of more like this instead of this, so that I don't know how to explain it. So more of a trapezoid instead of a square seam, so that it pulls it in a little bit more. I'm a little concerned about the arms because it's just so many stitches. It might bunch a little funny, but hopefully the bunching will be under the armpit. So that's where that is. I still love it. I love this cable. Like, look how nice the cable and the lace looks. I did block it. It didn't grow, I didn't stretch it or anything, but I love this, like it's so much crisper now. But yeah, I need it. The neck definitely had to go in a little bit. Arm, we'll see. But yeah, so that's where that is. You'll get to see it one more time at least before the next podcast. So that's my Vilu. You will see it one more time. I will probably finish this. I will focus on it. I will, because I want it to be done. I'm so excited for it, and I'm hoping to wear it on our cruise next month. So I will focus on it. So you'll see it one more time before it's a finished object. Other work in progress I have is my granny triangle blanket. So that again is a year-long project I'm using from a 2022 yarn club, Literary Adventures Yarn Society by the Woolly Dragon. I have crocheted up my September colorway horror from the novel The Devil Takes You Home. I don't know about you, but I get Christmas vibes. Like, this just screams Christmas to me. It's honestly, it's the green and the red, but like, that's the triangle. It looks great. I think I like that you can see it with what's in the background. So that one is, I crocheted it up, took it to a little, like 3 or 4 sittings. And I've also made progress on the next month's colorway, which is based on middle grade City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. And it's kind of giving me Valentine's Day vibes. So it's like the blues, grays, dark grays, whites, and pinks and reds. I will say I'm getting an idea for the blanket. I may try and do like a light to dark fade, but then I'm a little worried all the ones, and I've mentioned this before, that have the red on it are going to look blood splotched. So we will see about that. I will lay it out, I think, since I'm already making progress on October's colorway. I might try and knit up November and crochet up November and December in the next month, lay it out and put a photo, show you all what I'm thinking. But we'll see, because I do have a couple of others that I'm gonna add in to maybe make it slightly larger. But those are my colors, or those are the 2 that I've started to knit up. You'll see this one finish next month. This one will be put in with all the rest. So that's my year-long project. It's going well. I'm excited. I'm enjoying it. I did ultimately decide not to take it out and knit it, even though I do kind of want a knit blanket. I deserve a crochet blanket. It'll be nice. So that is that. That is my final whip. I will throw in my upcoming cast-ons here. I will continue working on the Mountain Mist hats. I've got a couple more on that Pokemon hat. Those really are going to be my focus over the next couple of weeks. The other 2, the Finest Kind, which I've talked about a couple of times now. The yarn is hanging on that door right there, and it is haunting me. It's like, make me, hey, make me. So I will squatch for those, and I get those going pretty soon. It knits up fast, apparently. So I'm excited about that. The other one that I am looking at, my aunt asked me last year if I could make her 2 sweaters for her dogs. So I'm going to look at that in the near future. I've got some old acrylic yarn that I want to use up, and I figured that might be a good one for them. So I will dig that out and start swatching and see. I think I did some research a while ago. Pretty sure I have a pattern. I just need to expand it to fit her dog's measurements. So that's where that is. My new obsession. Okay. So I have talked previously about the Heartstopper sweater, Charlie sweater from season 1 that I want to make. I'll put a photo here. I have the yarn for that. You'll hear, I'm planning to do that next year. I'm going to record it, do like a project vlog about it. So you will go with me on that journey. I've already charted it out, but there's some other things I need to do, and I'm just putting off doing that recording until like November or December when I've got a little bit of time off. So that'll be my project for next year. But I have been really tempted. So I watch a lot of Asian dramas on Rakuten Viki Rakuten, and they have the best knitwear. I don't know if it's just because the majority of them are very slight, and so like it just drapes very nice. But so many great pieces, and we also watched like most of the rest of the world, and I have so many screenshots of like, oh, I love this sweater, I love this sweater. But like a lot of the rest of the world, we watched and absolutely adored K-pop Demon Hunters. And y'all, I am obsessed with Baby Saja's pink Argyle sweater. Do I think I'll look good in pink? I'm not sure I have a pink shirt. I do wear it regularly. I've got a couple of pink shirts. So actually, no, yes, I probably would look good. My face can be a little ruddy, but I think I would look good. But like, look at it. It's just like pinks and purples and just like, I'm obsessed with this. I'm not going to buy yarn for it. I have already looked at patterns to see if I could find Argyle's. We've watched it a couple of times, Soda Pop. Like it just gets in your head. But I'm obsessed with his sweater in particular. First time I watched it, I was like, oh, I love that sweater. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, maybe it's simple. You know, it's simple. It's just down the front. And then of course there's a scene where it shows you the Argyle as the front and the back. Anyway, so I'm not saying I'm gonna make it, but it's like just living in my head rent free, and I kind of want to make it. We'll see how Charlie's sweater goes. If I can find, if I do that, maybe my K-pop Demon Hunter sweater will be in 2027. No promises, but yeah, that is my recent obsession. Love the soundtrack. I've listened to it constantly. Love the sweater. There's a couple of other sweaters in there. Romance has a wonderful, Mystery. The one with the purple hair has a beautiful sweater vest, like very vibrant. I'll put a photo there. But yeah, so that's my obsession. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's very catchy and you'll find yourself doing this. Yeah, it made me happy. So that's my obsession. My obsession. I'm gonna hop into acquisitions. The big one this month was this microphone. I hope it's working. I can't see it. I think it's working. The blue light's on. But it's this microphone. I needed it. It was something. The other one was good. It was super cheap, but I just kept knocking it off the table. I was like, I can't. I need something that's not on the table in front of me. I got 2 Notions. So local net store up the street. I got one of the twice sheared sheep gauges, quick gauge checker. So like, you know, you line up your stitches and it tells you what the gauge is. Obviously you need to do 4 inches, do this across a bunch, double check across everything. It worked well. I've used it a couple of times. It worked well. I liked it. Plus I get to support my local yarn store. The other Notion I got this thing. So what it is it's a bag clip and it hangs. So I can hang the bag on the side of a table. I didn't get it necessarily for my bags, but I got it for this thing. So this is a Twists. I don't know. It's an early skein minder. Tim bought it for me for Christmas one year from like whatever Scandinavian country it came from. It comes apart like this. You put your yarn cake on here. You slide this back in. And then it hangs. So it's like the same ones that are existing now that are like wooden or 3D printed. It came with a large ring attached that you just, you can put your wrist through. And I wasn't really gonna use it for that. So that was kind of like, okay, that's fine. But where I will use this is on the cruise ship. So I got it so that I can hang this, and then this can hang on the table like that. And then my yarn can just spin freely. So yeah, that's why I got that. And then actually this does really work well. I can just put my bag, hang it on my desk or coffee table or wherever. So it doesn't have to sit on the ground. So yeah, I could have got a cheaper one, but I wanted like a heavy duty one, and I wanted one that didn't have a gem or a flower. And yeah, so I got it. I like it. So those are my 2 Notion acquisitions. I did buy all of that, some of that yarn for the Poké Ball hat. My friend bought the first one, and then I was like, oh, it doesn't work. I'll get the next round. So the yarn I did get some yarn. Don't hold me to it, but next month's going to be wild. Boston Fiber Festival. I already know there's 2 that I'm probably going to buy, so we'll deal with it. But yarn that I bought, I got 4 skeins this month. So Kevin and Ray were showing off the yarn at Needles at the Ready. Were showing off some of the single brews that they had. And there was one I'd been keeping an eye on. for a while, and I was like, I really want that one. It's a beautiful, gorgeous, not quite petrol, but not really. It's a deep green with a blue undertone. Again, go see that How You See Blue chart, because maybe I'm just seeing it differently. And then they showed off this one called Forest Mirage this past, or I guess it's 2 podcasts ago now, but a couple of podcasts ago. And I was like, ooh, maybe those will go well together. So another obsession I have is like, I have this idea that I want to do a double knit blanket with squares. So like one side is one color, one side is the other. Maybe a stripe going up the middle that like interchanges the 2 colors, or something, maybe a row, not a plaid, but something. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll do like local New England dyers. So I was like, they showed this Forest Mirage color, and I was like, ooh, I like it. Y'all know I liked it because of this color here that goes through it. But I like that it kind of fades into this. It's a red. There's a reddish brown, but it's this teal really that got me. And especially this darker, where it gets dark. So I bought it. And then I was like, ooh, maybe the one I was watching would go with it. So this is Deep Current. And so, I have no idea if this thing is focusing. I get to do that thing like everyone else. Is it focusing? But it's this really gorgeous, and ultimately, I don't think they go together. Like, it's not the end of the world, because they would be like, you would only see this color and maybe a stripe of this color. I think it's a little more green than this, but ultimately that plan doesn't work out, but I'm glad I got both of them, because I've got other singles in my stash, my closet, that I think could work as a back for either of these. So it may not be a New England only blanket, but it might be. But anyway, so I got these. These are the 2 that I got. This one is, one's different. This one's 80-20 and this one's 75-25. Usually I can't tell a difference, but I can tell that this just feels softer. The 80-20 just feels softer. So like maybe that's the one I use the more regularly, but the 75-25 seems to have a higher twist. So who knows? But yeah, I guess technically when you pull this out, there's a couple of streaks like here that make you think it could potentially work, and it might. Who knows? I also don't know if I'm ever going to do this double knitting blanket things, but like that's for future Jeff to figure out. But I got these. I love them. This one, I'm like, this is actually really close to, I'm not going to go grab it, but this is kind of like the color that I want My Finest Kind will be in, kind of that fur, blue fur. Also, there's a tree I'm obsessed with down the street. I think it's a blue fir where it's like, and I just realized if I do a brioche with like this color, but then like a dark green underneath it, or this color and then like a lighter blue green above it, it's that fir. So my brain's working weird, but I'm thinking about it. The other yarn that I got was from Fiber Hustle. So this one, when Aaron showed this, I was so mad. When he was like, it might be a Flock exclusive, I was like, are you kidding me? I cannot justify flying to Seattle to attend a yarn festival to buy one colorway of yarn. I didn't have to, thankfully. He also said I might release it. He said if there's any leftovers, he might release it, or he might dye a small batch for people that have expressed interest. And the colorway is the Jagged Little Yarn colorway. So I will put Alanis Morissette's, it's probably her seminal album, but like here, it came out in the late 90s. I will never forget. I wanted it for Christmas so bad for like 2 or 3 years. But my mother would not let me have it. And my aunt, who, she was in high school when I was born, so she's been, a couple of them were, but she's like the young one, my dad's youngest sister. I remember she bought it for me, and she handed it over and was like, don't tell your mom I got this. And I was like, Miriam, you are the coolest aunt ever. And I listened to that album nonstop. And Aaron did an amazing job. Like, look at this yarn. Like, he got the blues and the greens and the purples into the reds and the pinks. Like, I am obsessed. I was obsessed when he sent it, and then like, or when he posted it, and then he sent it and I saw it and I was like, this is gorgeous. I have no idea what I'm going to make with this. I might do a muscle burrow. But I might do like a nice, maybe I'll do a, whatever that yellow thing is. Paris Toujours. I don't know, but it is stunning. I love it. And it's super, super soft. But like, just look at the color. And like, so, okay, I'll hold this here. I'll put the album back up. Come on. Like, so good. And he also included a very lovely note. But yeah, so those were my yarn acquisitions. I have one more acquisition, which is not yarn and not really fiber related. I made it fiber related. So I didn't pay for it. So the people at Babylon Leather reached out to me and were like, hey, we think your audience might like this. You can make your own leather bag. And I was like, huh? What? I don't think so. And I messaged back, I asked a couple of questions. I was like, okay, tell me more. Do you have any examples? And they linked me to a couple of people. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do it. What if I can get a kit to give away? They didn't give me a kit. Boo. But I thought about it and I was like, okay. So I was a Boy Scout. I loved all the arts and crafts. Like when I was a camp counselor, I was a lifeguard and I taught archery. But I would have very much loved to do arts and crafts. But when I was a Boy Scout, I did, we did leather work, we did basket weaving. I love all of that kind of stuff. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Who doesn't love a nice bag? They kind of pitched it as a, make your own Birkin. I was like, what the hell's a Birkin? Looked it up. It was about the time that one of the originals sold for some obscene amount of money. I was either $1 million or 10 million. I was like, oh, that's a Birkin. Okay, that's fine. Most of the bags were like purse knockoffs. Still need a purse. I was like, okay, let me look through these. Maybe I'll say yes if I can find one that I can use for a project bag. And I did. So I found one. So I found this bag. It is the large sack. And I was like, okay, why not? It's a different craft. Lets me use something different. And then I also kind of selfishly was like, okay, well, if I get that, I can use it as a part B line or a B story. B-roll? No, B story. For a little project vlog for that linen bag that I am still trailing. And I can wedge the two together, make a standalone piece, review the Babylon Leather thing, finally sew my liner, get it into my linen bag, and then just like tie a little bow on it and be like, bags, bags, bags. So I said yes. They sent it over to me. It got here super, super quick. And I will show you how far I've gotten. So this is how far I've gotten. It looks like a complete bag. What the hell is that? It looks like a complete bag. But it's not, because I still have to sew a side on. I'll talk more about it in that other video. If you are interested, there's a affiliate link and discount below. I was like, why not send it to me? I'm the worst. Like, I don't even, I have a Strucket one too. I love the Strucket, like, but apparently there's much cheaper options, so go check those out too. But yeah, so I thought, why not? So this is the bag. What is on there? So this is about the size the bag will be. It's roughly the size of the bags that I use. And I was like, that's perfect. Like, okay, why not? And it's got pockets on the inside too that you like, and I put this together. I sewed all of this. These came flat. These were all different pieces. I won't say it's the easiest thing on the planet. It is rough on your hands, on your fingers, but like, it's kind of rewarding to see like this come together and make this really cool piece. And there'll be like little feet on the bottom, but yeah, I just was like, why not? Give me this nice green It looks, I mean, it probably still looks like a purse, but the one thing I'm actually debating is whether or not I put the zipper in the top. I feel like I don't want the zipper. It's gold. I'm not the biggest fan of the gold accents, but if I don't put the zipper in, like, I can't exactly take this on a plane or somewhere, because if it falls over, everything might roll out. But then again, I take the other one. So yeah, that's my acquisition slash parallel project. But like, I mean, look at those stitches. I did that. So I figured, but yeah, so that's I figured it would teach me a couple of skills. So like the sewing, that I will be able to transfer to the other bag that I'm using. Got me a free bag. And it will also help this because it'll help me learn how to stitch together videos across different times for a project video, for that then Charlie video next year, Charlie sweater next year. And then I'll also probably use it to, I want to use a new editing software that will, similar to whatever I had shifted from when the other one died, but this one apparently is really, really highly recommended. So I'm going to use it for that. So I thought it was a good opportunity to teach myself new things, do a skill I haven't done in a long time. I've not done leather work or like leather sewing and you don't punch anything. That's the cool part. Like it's all pre-punched. So like you're just sewing it. But I haven't done anything like that since I was like 12. I was like, why not? So I'll release that video later this month. And if you are interested, you can check it out. At the very least, you should check it out to see my linen bag, see how it finishes. And I need to do that. That part I did in the weekend, and that other one will take probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to just do that final side. And then I just have to do the other bag. So yeah, check it out if you want. Links are below. That's my last acquisition. So as I transition to saying goodbye, I would love to hear, like, are you excited for fall or spring? Like, we're going into fall here. The mornings have been crisp. Like I've been having to wear a long sleeve t-shirt or a hoodie. Not quite warm enough for my Trinnigan yet, but I'm looking forward to being able to just pull that on. And then of course it's warming up into the 70s during the day, so it gets a little warm. But yeah, are you looking forward to fall? Are you looking forward to spring if you're down in the Southern Hemisphere? Are your knitting plans changing? I'm doing a bunch of hats real quick just because I need a break from the bigger garments, and then I'll be going into a couple of those sweaters for our January cruise. Yeah, I think those are the big things. If you are a cruiser and you will happen to be on the repositioning cruise from Boston to Fort Lauderdale via the ABC Islands in October, come say hi. I will be on there. I will probably be in the solarium knitting every day, or I'll be knitting somewhere on there. I think one of them, either this one or the one in January, it's actually a knitting cruise. Like there are people that are instructing and there are people that have signed up to go. I did not do that. We found out after we booked it. But yeah, so if you're there, come say hi. And then yeah, if you made it this far and you can come to the Boston Fiber Festival tomorrow, also come say hi. Love to see you, and I think that's everything. So casting off for now. I will see you. Most of you I'll probably see in October. If not, I'll see some of you in later this month when I talk about those two bags. Have a great month.